Meow.
Hello, this is Craig. Today we're going to show you how to build this glorious hardtop gazebo from Broyhill.
And we're actually buying that more of a farm as a farm implement. We were looking for something with a hard top that we can leave up year round, but we didn't want something with just a front door you walk in. We want something that's open on all sides because we've got some plans for it and we want to be able to access it. Kind of the main purpose is actually just to store the hay for these fellas under it to keep the hay dry, and also to keep our bikes in it. So we'll show you a little time lapse now. I wanted to show you real quick that these come in 2 huge boxes, so make sure you show up to the store to get one of these in a nice pickup or a big SUV. These are not only large, but they are heavy. These weigh over 250 pounds each box, so make sure you come prepared. Alright, this is the spot we're going to do the installation. It's going to be right here near the edge of the hill where we can quickly and easily feed the animals, also come up the driveway and park our bikes in the gazebo. So let's get started. Okay, so according to the instructions, the only tools you're going to need are a screwdriver, a hammer, and a ladder. Of course, you also need a wrench. They provide you a little wimpy one, so I'm bringing my own wrench to the party. Okay, so here's step 1. These are the parts you need. You can do a freeze screen on that if you need to. So we're going to take, pretty simple, just take these B caps and just slide that over the flat end of the big posts, which are A. So just slide that over. Then we're just going to take this part C, put that in there with the holes, and then we're just going to fasten, we're going to attach that with the BB and CC, the BB screw and the BB bolt and the CC washer. A little personal tip I'd like to offer. So these are what's going to be sitting on the ground. And initially I tightened these bolts all the way down, but if you come around here, you can see that when you tighten them, if you tighten these, it lifts this off of this metal platform. See, if you can you show right down in here? When that's tight, it leaves a little gap in between there. And personally I don't like that, because if there's a gap, that means all the weight of the whole structure is going to be on these bolts. And these are not really thick bolts. They're actually, pretty wimpy. So the whole point of this is just to anchor the thing down to like a patio. We're setting ours on cement, so we may come back later and put some screws into the cement. But it's not important that this be tight, because this just keeps the legs from moving around. But it doesn't need to support the structure. So by keeping it loose, then you can see when the weight's on it, it will sit down flush on that. But when you tighten it, it pushes that out away. So I would recommend leaving these screws a little bit loose. Okay, and here's step 2. Those are the parts you need. And here's what you do. Kind of confusing in instructions, because it looks like it's sort of fastened like this, but they actually are going to meet flat. And what you want to look for is, first, make sure both of these tabs are showing, and then actually you don't really need to do that, as long as if you notice these have 2 little tabs sticking up, so those, you just make those come together, and then put 1 bolt and 1 washer on that side, and then 1 washer and the nut on the other side. There you go, and then you're going to do 1 more here and 1 more there. All right, we're on to step 3. So step 3, you're actually going to start putting the structure up. So there's all the parts you need, and then you're going to go ahead and just start putting these up to the posts. So the next thing we're going to do is attach these cross beams to the posts. So you want to lay it down in such a way that when you put it up, it's in place. So we're going to do this with 2 sets of them. And then the final 2 sets we'll put on, obviously, once they're standing up. So the next thing you do is you want to have your little sets of, you got the little washer and the big washer. And you're going to go ahead and attach this here. All right, so you can see we've got the outside one fastened down. We've got all 4 screws. Should be 4 sets of bolts in that, and then do the next one. And the same thing, you want to lay it down like this, so when you fold it up, it's going to be about where it's going to go. And then we'll do the last 2 pieces. So go ahead and bolt these 2 together as well. Okay, hopefully you can hear over the wind. So here we go. We're going to show you how to put up the 2 sides. This is why on the instructions they say to have 4 people. This would be much nicer with even 3 people, but I think we can do it with 2. Let's find out. Here we go. Yay, so we got the main structure of it up. We just put 2 bolts in each one just to hold it in place. And then you don't tighten those too tight. And then once you get all the bolts in, then you're going to want to go around again and tighten everything. This part is going to be a little tricky. We just attached 3 of the bars. It's my thought that it's going to be easier to put this up with 3 and then add the 4th bar once it's up. So we'll see if I'm correct. All right, and here we go. Structure up now. Looks beautiful. And this is the time when I'd recommend moving it if you want to move it, because it's only going to get heavier from here. Moving on to step 4. There's the parts you need, and here's what you're going to do. Alright, so we've got our 4 H pieces set up. What I've found is they don't want to go in all the way, so a little rubber mallet is just what you need to get the job done, possibly, if yours are tight like mine were. Then it's just 1 screw for each joint. Here's what step 4 looks like once it's completed. Okay, we're on to step 5. There's the parts you need. And here's what you're going to do. These are your long F1 pieces. This is your F2. So this is the flat end. The other end has a little knot, a little sprocket thing sticking out. And then the F2, it appears that you put the hex, there's a little hex hole, which I don't see why, because it's just going to go over that. And then you just put one of these AA screws in and screw that down. So just do that on all 4 pieces. Okay, so now we're on to step 6. Step 6, you're going to attach the F1 pieces from step 5 and then put it on the structure. So this is a part where you definitely could use an extra set of hands or 2. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and attach these long structures to the little square we made here earlier. And there's a little spot that slides in there. And just put one of these little screws in top. We're on to step 7. So here's the parts you need, and here's what you're going to do. Next, you're going to take your G-bar
get the end with there's a big rectangular hole there. So that's going to go on that little tab sticking out. So first what you're going to do is slide this over that little tab, then drop the rectangular tab on, and then you just need one screw in this part here. Now we got all those cross beams there. Those are the ones at the points. So that's what it looks like after that step. Looks like it's finally coming along, and the structure's starting to feel a little more sturdy as well. All right, now we're on step 8. So this is the parts that you'll need, and here's what you're gonna do. What this is, you're taking your P1 piece. See there's a big nub sticking out there? So that pokes in that little hole there. Then you bring this one up, sets on the top, and then just one screw goes in it. On the inside. Same process with the P2 piece. Same thing, you poke the little nub in the hole, and then it sets right there. You ask your wife for another screw. And then you just fasten that on the inside up here on the other side. Just basically the opposite of what you just did. And then you're just going to repeat the process on the other side. Alright, so just to show you so far what it looks like from up above. Now you got the two posts there, 2 beams. So there you go, we got the approval of the donkey. She says it's looking great, and she's excited about the progress. All right, on to step 9. Here's the parts that you need, and here's what you're gonna do. So the next step's pretty simple. You're just gonna take this funny contraption, and these things just pop in. No hardware needed for this step. And then the J's go, the little foot faces the outside, so it goes like that. And then you just repeat that with all 4 of these guys.
So step number 10, here are the parts that you need, and then that is what you're going to do.
Okay, so now you have your little funny contraption here, and then you're going to take these pieces, put the nice side on the outside, and then just slide it over these little notches here. Just one on each side. There you go. And then just do that for all 4 sides as well. Step 11, here's the stuff you need. And here's what you're going to do. Okay, next step, you just take these guys and drop them right here in between. And then it's pretty simple. You're just going to go, these ones just go, they fall through, and then you're going to put another washer and a nut on the underside there. The ones on the sides, they're not going to go all the way through. Just going to have one washer, and then it just screws into the, those ones are pre-threaded, so just screw those in. So here's step 11. When it's all complete, this is what it looks like.
For step 12, here's the pieces that you need, and here's the step that you'll take.
This step's pretty simple. You just set these, put the little ridges inside the edges of these, and those are just going to set there for now. So you just slap all 4 of those on there just like that.
This is step 13. This is the parts that you'll need. And these are the steps that you'll take.
You're just going to take these long U pieces, set them on here. Put those in. You're going to put all 4 of those on, and then when you're done with that, you're just going to put the cap on top and screw that down.
This is step number 14. These are the parts that you'll need. And this is the step that you'll take.
Okay, so this part was kind of tricky. My wife kind of helped me get it up onto the structure. And then I'm just going to try to slowly walk it over into place. It's quite heavy once it's all together.
So you probably just climb down the ladder and then come on the other side, and then that way you won't hurt yourself.
You're right. Then pull it from over there.
Gives that boat.
Make sure your ladder is good and secure. Okay. There we go. Yeah, once you kind of get it, it kind of slides into place.
That's impressive that you can do that.
And then you
So
just-
be sure and have a big strong man put this together.
And then it's just 4 screws, which is a little worrisome, but I guess they know what they're doing. That only 4 screws are gonna, or 4 bolts are gonna hold up this big heavy thing. But I guess the weight of it will keep it in place. So once you get that on, you can see there's already the pre-drilled hole, so that's where I put the bolt. I'm just gonna do that on each corner. So here's what it looks like before you get your bolt in.
This is step 15. These are the parts that you'll need. And this is the step that you're going to do.
So you take your 01 piece, you can see it's got the 2 brackets here. So those go right in, there's an indenture here. So it just sets right in there, just like that. And then this end should line up with this hole here. So I'm just gonna put in a bolt there. So that's pretty easy. And then just obviously a bolt in each of these. There's a hole in each spot here. And this is nice. This is gonna tie all the structure together real tight. And then with your 02 piece, this is the same thing, but it's just on the opposite side. So same thing, you're gonna just drop it in the little bracket and then put the bolt in up here. So that's it, and then you're gonna do that all around.
Here is step 16. These are the pieces that you'll need. And this is the step that you'll be doing.
Now we're gonna start putting the roof on, yay. So it appears that this is the top, so the part that sticks up faces the sky. And then there's a little bit of a ridge here that's gonna tuck under here. So I'm gonna put it on top, tuck that ridge under, and then there's a hole right there. So there's just one bolt holding this in so far. I'm sure later we're gonna attach more stuff to it, but for now it's just that simple bolt. Okay, here's step 17. There's the parts you need. And here's what you're gonna do. Okay, now we're doing these longer pieces of roofing. So this is a little funky looking. So it's gonna sit right there. And let's see. So we got the little indenture here is going to go over the top of the ridge there. And I didn't position my ladder very well. And these just have one bolt. Anyway, very strange that only one bolt for this whole piece of roof, but I have a feeling that will be remedied in a later step. Okay, we're on step 18. Here is the parts that you need, and here's what you're gonna do. All right, so we're up to the last roofing piece. That's this big guy, and same thing. There's just one hole in the middle. So just gonna put one bolt in each of these.
So here is step number 19. These are the materials that are needed. And this is the step that will be taken.
Okay, last you're going to put this piece up, and if you see there's a little crook there, so that's going to go to the outside. So I'm just going to put this up over the top, and then that crook is going to catch right there.
Okay. Here's step number 20. These are the materials you'll need. And this is the step that you'll take.
The next thing you want to do is you want to take this, you take this little V end, and that's going to go all the way up to the top, and that's what's going to hold these down. So you're going to slide that all the way to the top, and of course we have to figure out a way to get up there. We'll see what we come up with. And then once you have that all the way at the top, then this is the next piece that goes underneath that, I guess. Yeah, I think those just overlap. So one of the last steps you're going to do is install this runner that runs from the tip up there down to the edge. And they make it so it's very difficult to get to the top screw, which is right about there. And the first time I did, I put my ladder right here at the base and tried to lean way in. It was very difficult. But what I discovered, you'd probably know this if you were a geometrist, I guess. If you put your ladder so that you're reaching from about here on the roof, reaching across this way, it's actually a shorter distance and an easier reach. I was able to reach them a lot better, accessing them from about halfway up, rather than if the first one I did it from here, from this corner, and I had to actually basically crawl. I basically laid my whole body on the roof to reach it. But when I put my ladder to peak here, then I was actually able to reach it and still keep my feet on the ladder. Either way, it's a bit of a stretch, and that was one of the few design flaws. Also, the little ridges on the top that run along the top here, those are also a little tricky. And make sure you get there's only one screw in each piece of the roofing, only one bolt. So as you're putting the thing up, as you're putting all the roofing on, the pieces will kind of shift, they'll slide side to side. So when you put this, the peak on, there's a long strip on the peak, and when you put this on, that's the time when you want to shift your roofing around, make sure they're all right in line with the edges, because if they're not, then you're going to have problems. So don't worry about them so much until that last step, and then you want to really make sure that each piece is exactly set as it needs to. Once you have that piece overlaps the last piece, and then the last piece before you screw it in, then you want to put this end cap. So the end cap's going to go right here. And then your bolt goes through that hole. You got to adjust it a little bit. So make sure you put the end cap in before you put that last bolt in.